guys, Doug Giles here, Little Warriors, Rich.
And Wild Man. What's happening,
And
Doug?
Wild Man. Hey, we got a story over at Clash Daily about a woman. I don't have the website up in front of me right now, so I want to make sure that my fickle little system doesn't ruin our podcast. But we've got a story over at Clash Daily where this woman trains her and her husband, but she's the spearhead to this. She has trained her 7 kids, from like big old 18-year-old boy down to their 5-year-old daughter, how to shoot guns. And as you can imagine, liberals' minds are being blown. Like, why are you having them, shooting guns at an early age? They're going to become, mass murderers and shoot up a school. And man, bro, you got to watch that video because she's so articulate. She was raped, I believe, 3 times between the ages of 13 and 18. And she said, you know what? Homie ain't playing that game. And so she became, she's now an NRA gun instructor. Beautiful woman. She said, listen, my kids are living close to a rowdy city known for violence, okay? And she said, my family, not my sons, not my daughters, none of us are going to be victimized by anybody. And of course, the liberals, they just completely don't get it. But, I know a lot about Luke and Levi. Don't know much about the daughters. But I know when my family, when I had Hannah and Reed pop out of Mary Margaret's belly, this thing called responsibility, Rich, hit me like a pair of nunchucks swung by Jackie Chan. And I was thinking, I'd like to think of myself as God, but alas, I'm not. And one of the things I started realizing is that, not being God, I'm not omnipresent. And so I can't be around my daughters at all times. When they go off to school, go surfing, whatever they do. So I made certain that, number 1, my daughters knew how to fight. And number 2, they knew how to shoot guns. And brother, we started that stuff from an early age. And we also got them into knife throwing, I think when they're the ripe old age of 8 and 10. And everybody thought we were nuts. Everybody thought we were crazy. Everybody, Rich, thought we were going to turn them into these violent, gun-wielding banditas or something. But you know what happened, buddy? I'm so confident that wherever my daughters go now, their situation awareness, through the roof. Their ability to kick ass with their hands and feet, through the roof. Both of them black belts in Gracie Valenti Jiu-Jitsu. And should those 2 things not suffice, then we also instructed them to use the great equalizer. I'm talking about the firearm. And
there you go.
I can sleep the sleep of angels, big dog.
Hey, man, and here's something to think about, which I know Regis. Got to spend quite a bit of time with Regis, and she's definitely not some crazy, violent. She's an awesome person, so fun to be around and to go hunting with, and it's awesome to see people that are trained and educated about firearms that you're comfortable about being around. Because I know you're like that too, Doug. I don't like to be around people with guns that don't know what they're doing. I won't be around people like that. And so very comfortable around Regis with firearms.
A kid or an adult. Thank you.
So I was reading this article about the study they did, and what they did is in the bucket of toys at a daycare, they put a pistol in the bottom of the toys. And the kids who had never been around guns in their entire life, when they're pulling the toys out, they find the gun. Doug, they pull the gun out and start pointing it at each other. And the kids who had been trained, and we're talking about little kids like 5, 6 years old, the kids who were in homes where they'd been trained, as soon as they saw the gun, they jumped back and they said, stop, danger, we need to go get an adult right away. And so right off the bat, if you're a parent, maybe you don't like guns, you don't want to be around guns, you don't want guns in your home, that's your choice. You could do that. But I'll tell you what, you have a responsibility to train your kids about the danger of guns, about gun safety. It's important to do that. It makes a big difference. I took my son Luke out. You know my son Luke. And at the time he was about, I think he was 10, and we went to go shoot some guns. And so I lined him up on the bed of the truck the different weapons that we were going to fire, the firearms. And then people hate when I call them weapons, but they are. And then I put out the different bullets and the shotgun shells, and I explained to him which one went with what, and we were talking about it and everything. And we were getting ready to load the firearms and start shooting, and he cracked some joke and started laughing, and it wasn't about the guns. He was just being funny. And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were going to shoot guns." And he said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Well, you're cracking jokes." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, are we cracking jokes or are we shooting guns?" He said, "We can't do both." I said, "No, we can't. You get to pick what you want to do." And he got all, you could tell he's a little butthurt, right? And I said, "Hey, check this out. All you have to do is not pay attention one time." And I said, "And you think, oh yeah, I might accidentally pull the trigger." I said, "But do you want to watch blood pumping out of somebody's chest and then look in their eyes and see that they know they're dying and watch them die?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Well, I'm the only one here. So do you want to do that to me and watch me die?" And he's like looking at me like, and some people, Doug, would say that's extreme. It's absolutely not extreme. I'm training my son in firearms. And he said, "No, I understand, Dad." So we went, we shot the guns. We had a great time. He loved it, got back home, and I gave him a loaded 9mm pistol, one in the chamber. I handed it to him. It was in a Kydex holster. It did have a trigger guard, but I handed it to him, and he knows it's loaded. And I said, "Go put this gun away for me in the house." So he goes in the house to put it away, and I hear some commotion with his mom and stuff, and I go in there, and she says, "Luke came in here, and I told him he needed to take out the trash, and he was holding that pistol down, and he's walking and said, 'Don't talk to me right now. I have to put this firearm away. It's loaded.'" And she said, "Don't you think that's being dramatic?" I said, "No, that's not being dramatic. That's firearm safety for a young man. I don't want him doing two things when he has a gun. I want him doing one thing." And so some people don't get it.
Secure the weapon.
But Doug, you were around my boys with guns, and you saw how safe they are. They're very careful, probably right on the brink of paranoid, which they're young, and I don't mind that. But they love guns. They love shooting. They love hunting. You were with them. You watched them shoot. They're great shots. But they had to be taught gun safety, the dangers of guns.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting in this video over at ClashDaily.com that I'm talking about, in the way that the mother was working with her kids at the range. She said, "Okay, I want everybody to line up. You know, we're going to do a little gradation of the tallest to the shortest. So you line up in whatever your height order is." I think she had 4 girls and 3 boys, or maybe 4 boys and 3 girls. So again, we got them from like 18 to 5. All right, 5-year-old girl. Just a doll. And so she's at the table, she's at the bench, and all the weapons are in front of them. Magazines out, actions open. And she said, "Okay, you, number one, Sam, what's the first rule of weapon safety? Finger off the trigger. Know your target." Then she points to one of the little girls, said something like, "What else? You know, what else do you do?" It's like, "Know what's behind the target." You know? And I mean, those kids, man, they, boom, spit it out just like that. And the way that they put the magazine in, the way that they racked it, everything from extraction to shooting to giving the gun safety tips, those kids knew that. And they didn't look like, you know, they were just these Mensa students, these Einsteins. They're just normal kids, man.
Yep.
And with the proper tutelage, I think, yeah, you could do it, but you got to be consistent. You got to be strong. And you know, most importantly, you got to be there yourself, teaching them how to do it. You know, again, I think it's a great thing. I think it's an important thing, especially in our incendiary environment, where everybody's got a notion of entitlement, whether it's to your sexual organs or to the stuff that you've accrued, you know, building wealth and building a legacy. Everybody thinks that, hey, man, it's my stuff, and your body's my body. And nowadays, it's like it's Thunderdome, it's crack night in the ferret hut, and you got to have a way to protect yourself. Yep. And I think the parents being the first line of that defense and that instruction is muy importante.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what's funny? This probably be a little controversial, but I'm gonna throw it out there anyway because I'm a controversial guy. I do not lock up my pistol. It doesn't have a safe. It doesn't have anything. You know what? It's just like Black Hawk Down. It's like, this is my safety right here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. My guns are loaded. One in the pipe, 24/7. You don't have to question. If you see a gun in my house, you've been to my house, Doug. You know, when you come to my house, I give you a gun, right? That you can have while you're there. You come to my house.
I get off the plane, get in the Rich's vehicle. Boom, here's your gun, buddy.
Yep.
And
it's loaded.
I feel loved. And I feel loved.
And they're loaded. So check this out. So I don't lock them up. I don't do that. Not my pistols, you know. And so I told my kids this from the time they're small. I said, if you ever want to see the guns, tell me. We'll stop what we're doing. We'll bring the guns out. We'll put them on the table. We can unload them. We can take them apart. We can work with them. You could look at them. You could practice aiming them. Whatever, anytime you want. Anytime you want. I said, you touch one of those guns without asking, I will whoop you from the time the sun comes up until the sun goes down, and you will never forget it the rest of your life. And you know what's funny, Doug? My kids were small. They never touched my guns. Not ever. And when they wanted to, we brought them out. We've never had a problem. It's not a mysterious thing that you're not allowed to go around.
So you don't see, you're sitting there watching TV, doing a little binging on Peaky Blinders, and then all of a sudden, here comes Levi or Luke wandering through the house with a weapon.
Nope.
That doesn't happen. Yeah.
Did
it's
you
never
say
happened
Peaky
to me either, man.
Check out
Peaky
my
Blinders,
shirt.
man.
There it is.
Hey,
The Shelby Company.
What a great show. Here's another thing. When you're getting your kids into firearms, and I watched a buddy of mine do this, and this is way before, I grew up with guns, had guns all the time, mostly deer hunting. I don't think we even had a pistol, but shotguns and rifles and stuff until, I was maybe 16 or something like that. My cousin gave me his beautiful Harrington and Richardson 9-shot 22 pistol, which I sold for drugs when I was a stupid idiot. Anyway, Rich, here's something that I remember. So I had this redneck buddy, and we were out shooting one day, man, and he thought it'd be funny to give his kid, with weak wrists, little kid, his son, a .44 Magnum to shoot and see what happens. And I don't even know if that kid will even get around guns anymore. I know it. First of all, no ear protection, no eye protection.
That's
the
not
recoil,
good.
Yeah, the recoil on a .44 Magnum is, I think it had a 5.5 or maybe 6-inch barrel. It was a Model 29, Dirty Harry gun, and it can be stout. You're putting 240 grains down the pipe at like 1,000 feet per second. It's gonna come back. The gun, first of all, he lost control when he pulled the trigger. So again, that's a bad thing to have happen. The noise level just completely blew him away. He starts crying. Everybody starts laughing at him. My point is, when you introduce kids, especially young kids, to the guns, can you start them off with a 22?
There you go.
Just something, and ear protection, eye protection.
Every time.
And like with my daughters, I've had 41 Magnums, 44 Magnums, 45s, 38s, 357s, 380s, and I put them out there, and it's like, just try. Once they became, a little stronger and a little bit more hip, you try. You pick the one you like, because I want you to spot weld to this bad boy, because that's going to be your equalizer. That one's going to be your buddy.
Yep.
So I have my favorites. I like wheel guns. I've got automatics, but, I'm a traditional Texan. I like the old wheel guns.
Like my son Luke calls them cowboy guns. He likes the cowboy guns. Hell
yeah, brother. Hell yeah. And, my daughter, Regis, she took to the wheel gun. She's a big revolver fan. My other daughter, Hannah, she likes the automatics, or the semi-automatics. And my wife, she likes the wheel gun because she doesn't have to jack with anything.
You don't have to do anything. You just pull the trigger. That's it.
And crap doesn't get stuck in it in her purse, when she got it down there and stuff. Got lipstick and freaking mascara tubes stuck in there and things, so she doesn't have to deal with that stuff. Let them choose. Start them off low recoil. Let them build up, and let them do it at their freaking pace, Dad. And don't do what this moron did to his kids for some kind of joke. Same thing with long guns, whether it's a shotgun. Don't give them some wicked ass 12 gauge that has no recoil pad and
the stock is this long, so the kid's leaning back, so there's no recoil left in their body, so they can make sure they get it all right in the shoulder.
And you're going to have a good hee-haw time by putting a 3-inch Magnum, double-aught buck in there, and just going to shove him, to the ground.
A lead
Let
ball.
him build up, man. 410, 28 gauge, beautiful little shotguns, and the bullets or the pellets go out the pipe at the same feet per second as it does the 12 gauge, just not as many of them. And you can have a rip-roaring time starting them out properly, lots of range time, let them choose light calibers until they want to, graduate. And other than that, constantly talk about them, watch shows about them. And I don't think, Rich, they're going to go off the ranch and be this disrespectful moron who, plays with firearms. I've never seen it happen. No. And I've grown up with a lot of people, with a lot of families that have a lot of firearms.
Doug, I've had guns, my whole life, and almost always have had a pistol in my car. And I've never felt the need to draw a gun or like I needed to get it or I had to reach for it. Not one time. Now, there was one time that was a funny situation. I was outside of a restaurant, and this drunk guy had a straight razor out and was threatening people with it. And this lady said, "Hey, that guy's threatening people with the straight razor." And I turned around, and he was standing in front of me, and he was drunk. And he says, "I'll cut you like this, and I'll cut you like that." And I realized right away he wasn't going to cut me because he could have, because he's 3 feet away from me. I couldn't have stopped him, Doug. There's no way, right? And I thought, he's just drunk. He's kind of trying to be intimidating. He's not going to do anything. And I said, "Why would you do that?" And he goes, "Because that's how I roll." And so I pulled up my shirt. And I said, "Glock 26, that's how I roll." He looked at my pistol, and he folded the straight razor up like that, Doug.
And we're done
He
here.
folded it like this, and he goes like this, and he puts it in his pocket, and he looks at me, and he goes, "That's how you roll." And he walked away. But that really wasn't – I say that because I had no intention of pulling my gun. If I would have, there would have been no conversation. I wasn't in danger. That guy was just drunk, and I was just letting him know, "Dude, somebody's going to shoot you. Don't do that." So he walked away. This views the situation. But my boys, I would have no problem with my boys having guns. They're not ever going to take out guns and threaten anybody. They're not like that because there's no secrets around our guns. See, that's another thing with these crazy kids. They go and get these guns and shoot people up. There's all this secrecy, this mystique and all that. Not at our house. Guns are a way of life. It's the way we grew up. They're around.
I was going fishing when we were living in Miami, getting up early. Sun's coming up, beautiful day, brother, beautiful. And I see this hood rat at the gas station. He's going from customer to customer, shaking people down for money. I don't know if I've told you this story. So anyway, I see what's going on, and when the customer doesn't comply at the gas pump, he starts getting up in their face and screaming at them curse words, and it's like, all right, here it comes. So I've got an Airlight Smith & Wesson 357 plus P rounds. Oh my gosh, does that thing kick? Titanium frame.
Yeah, because they're so light. Yeah, there's no recoil management with that pistol.
Definitely a wallop, and I shoot elephant guns, and that thing.
Because it snaps.
You know when that thing goes off. So anyway, I'm like, okay, here he comes. This is it. And again, one of the keys in altercations in life is that you got to expect it when you least expect it. Yep. Here I am. I'm freaking at a yacht basin, man, in Aventura, beautiful place of Dade County, South Florida. I'm talking, there's probably more multimillionaires per square foot than any other place, maybe Manhattan on the eastern seaboard. So Palm Beach, maybe a little bit more. So here I am, gas station, beautiful neighborhood, and here comes the hood rat shaking people down for money and then blowing a gasket if they don't comply. He comes to me, rounds the corner from the gas pump, and I did what you did. I pulled up my shirt. He saw the gun handle, and you know what? He bounced on down the road, brother.
Yep, it was time to go somewhere else.
I know a lot of people say don't show until it's go time.
Yep.
But it worked in that occasion, and I'm kind of glad I did.
Well, Annie told me that sometimes on the drives between Phoenix and Yuma, she would stop in this little town and take a nap in the car for a few minutes, especially when it's hot and stuff. It's a long drive. And so she said one day she woke up and she looked up and there was a guy leaning over looking through the windshield at her, and that's weird, right? It's creepy. So she gets freaked out. So you know what she does now? When she takes a nap, she lays a Glock 43 right here on her chest in that car.
Beautiful.
Puts her head back and doors are locked, but she's letting them know this is probably not the car and I'm not the person. Great thing, real quick on Doug on training kids.
Why are you sleep depriving Annie, buddy? I mean, I hate to get
She's
in
a
y'all's
beautiful
business.
woman, Doug. She's a beautiful woman. That's my job. Just take care of business. This is an article by B. Gil Horman and American Rifleman. 6 tips for taking kids shooting for the first time. And I'll just read them off real quick. They're simple,
Do
very
it.
practical. Number 1, make sure they're ready and willing. I mean,
Yeah.
families have traditions and depends on if they're around and they're used to it and they like it. But don't push kids that don't want to do it,
Don't force it.
Number
Yeah.
2, walk them through it. You need to help them to understand what to expect, walk them through the idea of what's going to happen even before you go. Number 3, one-on-one adult supervision, especially for the first time. When we do it with kids and we take a group of kids out, which we've done several times, we have one gun out at any time and one kid at a time, and usually 2 adults, one supervising the other kids and the other one-on-one. So one-on-one supervision.
another thing, if you can find a single shot pistol or a single shot shotgun or a single shot rifle, do that.
Yeah.
Because once they put that bullet down range, especially with a semi-automatic pistol or rifle or shotgun, there's not going to be another shell in the chamber.
There you go.
So
there
once
you
it's
go.
down, then it's empty.
Yep. And then another thing, number 4, take it easy. Make sure that they have an opportunity to have small successes. Don't put them out there where they're not going to succeed. Can't hit a target. Put a target where they can hit it. Give them a gun that they can shoot and they can hit it. That's fun. When I took my boys out and they were older and I was teaching them to shoot rifles before we went hunting with you, I put my boys out there, but they had shot other guns. They had not shot rifles. And so when they were shooting rifles, I put them out there and gave them tons of ammo and sat right there in a chair in the shade and watched them, man. They dialed that thing in. Well, you saw how they shot. 4 shots, 4 kills. They weren't messing around, right? But it's according to their skill level also. And then number 5, pay attention to their energy levels. When people start getting tired, the parents or the kids, mistakes happen. So, and number 6, involve a mentor or 2. So also, like when my boys went hunting, it wasn't firearms specifically, but hunting, I thought it was great to have you there and not just me there. Because sometimes as their dad, everything I say has emotional value to it, You're there, you're one of their heroes, so you get to help them and inspire them. I think that's a great idea to have another mentor there. It's also positive and keeps everything chill. And so I think those are great suggestions for taking kids out.
Here's a little Doug list also to add to that. Always keep the gun pointed in a safe direction.
Yep.
Duh. Okay.
Yep.
Always, man. Always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Always keep the gun unloaded until ready to use, especially at the range.
Yep.
Again, my gun, my guns in my house. Oh, yes, they are very loaded.
Yep.
And, hey, Rich, do you have guns like all over your house?
Doug, I do. That was a trick question.
Brother, it's so
Doug,
funny.
we have a plethora.
Where do you keep your guns?
A smorgasbordy.
They're everywhere.
Oh,
they're
Doug,
they're like Jesus and the angels. They're everywhere, man.
The most difficult thing, if it was going down, would be what to choose.
Right. Do I go with the 12 gauge with bird shot so I won't overpenetrate the walls? Or do I go with the 12 gauge with triple-aught buck in case I need to reach out and touch him at 50 yards? Is it a scattergun situation or is it
Doug,
a rifle or a
I have
pistol?
the 12 gauge tactical with wad control double-aught buck. Keeps it nice and tight.
Oof.
And then I got my Derringer, man, with the 410 shotgun shells, with the anti-personnel, with the 6 copper discs. Oh, nobody wants none of that. Nobody,
Splat, baby.
No,
Splat.
I don't know what's going to hurt worse, my wrist or their ears, even if I miss, because that thing is horrible.
Well, when you're talking about the preservation of loved ones, I think you can. I think you can get over the arthritic pain that might ensue after firing that 410 Derringer.
Yeah, and there's another thing. If it really goes down, Doug, it's probably going to be the Glock 19 and the AR-15. We're probably doing them all. So that's probably what's going to happen.
What I want to do, say if worst case scenario, like in the James Bond movie Skyfall, I want to protect my homestead with my double rifle. Did you see that?
No.
He had an Anderson. You haven't seen Skyfall?
I saw Skyfall, but I don't remember that.
Okay, go back when they're in the old Scottish mansion and stuff. When what's the guy's name? Jose Bardem, or Javier Bardem, whatever his name is, who plays a weird character with the false teeth and the blonde hair. When they start sending in their initial troops, He's got Albert Finney's character. He's got Dame Judi Dench, M's. No, what's her name? Yeah, M. I think so. Her character, and it's just James Bond there. And the old guy's got a sawed-off shotgun, and he's got an Anderson Wheeler 500 Nitro Express double rifle.
Oh man!
And brother, he's shutting stuff down with that gun. And again, I was born 100 years too late. I love classical weapons. I love traditional pistols and rifles and shotguns. But the main point is man, become proficient and make that the last thing you ever do is draw a weapon. But if you do, man, make sure you're in the right and double tap the center mass. 3 shots, 3 feet in 3 seconds, and that's how most altercations go down.
And train your kids. Train your kids. Even if you don't have guns, you don't like guns, you don't support. Train your children. Have a friend that has a gun come over. Make sure it's unloaded. Teach your kids the dangers of guns. That's no matter what. And obviously, if you have guns, you should be knowing some serious gun safety. You should be paying attention to what's going on. We got to train our kids no matter what.
Yeah, and when it goes back to getting your kids into martial arts, in particular jiu-jitsu, Pedro and Guy and Joaquin Valenti, they have gun extraction classes and how to defend from knives and pull knives and use it on the attacker. So all that stuff, doesn't seem like important. It's not piano lessons. It's not ballet lessons. It's not, these fun activities. But I'm telling you what, from a parental standpoint, I sleep the sleep of angels, knowing that, should some kind of bizarre physical violent altercation occur around my kids and I'm not there to protect, they know how to rock in a hard place, brother.
Yep, that's right.
So what's the Warrior and Wild Men listener need to do, my friend?
Go to Warriors and Wild Men. Subscribe to our podcast. Rate it. Review it. Go to our Facebook page. Like it. Follow us. Send us a message so you can get in the closed group because we're talking about cool stuff in there. Make sure you get the Warriors and Wild Men man card. Steel man card. Do epic stuff. And there's another version available to you if you want it. WarriorsandWildmen.com. Hit the shop button. And then if you're interested in going on the wild boar hunt, we still got a couple spots open. So get on there and reserve your spot right now. Warriors and Wild Men.